Hello.
よくも大魔女と呼ばれた私にここまで抗ったものです。もはやその地下道ではあなたたちの魔法は使えませんよ。
It's wild. Magic circle column drew a complex magical formula with Virgilia at the center. With such genuine magic being used, Shannon's power couldn't even compete. On the contrary, it was surprising that she had withstood as long as she had.
霊視優勢を確保。さあシエスタ姉妹、今度こそあなたたちの出番ですよ。ってまだ再起動してるんですか？なんで最近の子は寝起きが悪いの？
申し訳ありませんであります。私たち全員バージョンが違ってて。
なんでバージョン変わるたびにショートカットとプルダウンがしっちゃかめっちゃかになるに。前回不正な終了がありました？管理者権限？何これわけわかんない。早く直して。
この得体トラブルシュートにコール。何？ユーザーコードがないと教えない？
ユーザーコードは45が管理してるに。
紙に書かせろ。
言語支援システム再起動できてないから文字も書けないに。
はあ、お前たちはゆっくり修理していなさい。私が行ってきます。
ごめんなさい。
The narrow underground passage was packed with ghosts, truly like a commuter train in the morning. Virgilia was again shocked by this congestion.
何をやってるんですか？ご褒美が欲しいから一番乗りがしたい？他のヤギにご褒美を奪われたくないから邪魔をし合っている？このおバカヤギたちが！私が行きますから道を開けなさい。何？嫌ですって？ワルギリア様がご褒美を奪うつもりだ？なんでスクラム組んでるんですか？きつい狭い。いつからここはヤギ専用車両に？うぎゅー。今お尻触った子、次の駅で降りなさい。何あなた、こっちへ来いって。
The five in Krause's group dashed through the passageway with all their strength. They couldn't dawdle around in an underground place like this. They had to quickly join up with the children on the surface. If they could meet up, there would no longer be any more sorrow. At that time, a terrible rumble started chasing them, and their pursuers finally made it through the metal bars, but they couldn't see anyone when they turned around. However, that rumble and the dirt that fell here and there from the ceiling grew closer and closer, finally catching up with them and even going past them. It felt almost like being chased by ghosts. For a second, they thought they'd gotten away, until the ceiling in front of them fell in, and a single goat stood in their path. Virgilia was sitting on his shoulder.
賢い子が近道を知っていました。偉い子ですね。一等賞ですよ。後で手作りのサバのカレー煮をご馳走してあげますよ。
Maybe it really was happy about that dubious prize. The massive goat showed its joy by putting his hands together and writing. Virgilia leapt down, laughing at it. This time, it was finally checkmate.
くそ、ダメだ。魔力が完全に殺されてる。
まだよ。魔法がなくても私たちにはまだこの体がある。
無茶だ。あんな化け物にあの不思議な力がなくて戦えるわけがない。子供たちは下がっていたまえ。私が何とかするから、その隙にあの化け物の両脇を駆け抜けるんだ。
させませんよ。
When Virgilia clapped her hands, a purple magic circle wall appeared behind her. feeling even the faint hope that Kraus is betting on.
団地キュースか。いやまだだ。ジェシカも戦った。私が戦わんわけにはいかん。
本気なの？無理よ、あんな巨大な化け物に。
むちゃくちゃだ。クラウスさん、他の方法を考えましょう。思いついたら提案してくれたまえ。それまでも私が何とかするしかないようだ。さあ下がりたまえ。
気をつけて。
おやおやクラウス、あなた一人でこの子と戦うつもりですか？
わからんぞ。戦いにはまぐれあたりの一発だってあり得る。
まぐれでも勝てるつもりとお思いですか？身の程知らずのあなたのために私が状況を整理して差し上げましょう。
何？
あなたが 100% の力を発揮したとしてあなたの戦闘力はせいぜい6。対してこの子の戦闘力は1000。つまりあなたが100人束になっても絶対に勝てないということです。まあ確かに戦いには不確定要素もあります。その戦闘力に多少の倍率がかかることも認めましょう。しかしそれでもあなたがこの子を倒せる確率は 0.00001% というところでしょうか。お分かりかしら？あなたには万に一つの勝ち目もないということです。
Regalia and the goat guffaw together.
くそ。万一ということは配当は1万倍ということではないか。いい大穴だ。そういう馬券は好きだよ。買いたくなる。
それを買うコインはあなたの命1枚しかありませんよ。しかしそれでもその奇跡に運命を託したいというあなたの気持ちよくわかります。ですので恐れずに立ち向かうあなたの勇気をたたえ一つハンデを差し上げましょう。この子は左腕一本で戦います。まあそれでもあなたに負ける気は全くしませんが、それにしても何かしらさっきからピンポンピンポンと。
よかった。その勝負受けて立ってやる。左腕だろうとなんだろうとどうせ私は一撃で殺されるだろう。私のチャンスもまた一撃しかないのだ。それに全てかけるしかあるまい。
むちゃくちゃだクラウスさん。あんたがボクシングをやってたことは知っているが、それでも大学時代のはず。いやいや、仮にプロのボクサーがいたとしてもあんな化け物一撃で倒せるはずもない。
リングの上での試合なら確かにね。でもクラウス兄さんが望みをかけるチャンスがわずかだけどあるわ。彼はそれに全て望みをかけている。
まさか。しかしそんなのもうまくいくわけがない。
旦那様、
見ていろ。一撃で決めてやる。
Shallow, I know what you're after. The distance between the two of them is more than 10 meters. If the goat and Kraus both stepped in with all their strength to settle the fight with a single blow, their power would be doubled in this fight. Both will crash together, so it's a relative 4 times more. Even if, on top of that, the strike lands on a weak point for a critical hit, that will only double the power again. In short, Kraus' maximum power of 6 times 8 would be 48 at most. He might or might not be able to win if he repeated that lucky shot a full 20 times. You're killed every time you take a hit, and the damage still accumulates. Perhaps you might finally win when we get to episode 24. Yes. If only this series could stretch on so long. Either way, you don't even have a slight chance at victory. Seriously, what is that big bong sound?
私も一撃に全てをかけさせていただく。ヤギ君も遠慮することはない。本気で来たまえ。
全力を要望ですよ。本気の一撃で粉砕し、肉片に変えてやりなさいな。
As the goat got excited and beat its chest over and over, it took a position as though preparing for a sprint. Is this what you wanted? Bet your hopes on the greatest limit of your power level and despair when even that gets you nowhere. You got here again. What the heck? It's really starting to get on my nerves.
行くぞ。いいかね。
The goat howled in response. Then, with a matched timing that only the men confronting each other could comprehend, the two leapt forward like bullets shot out of a gun. The men howled, collecting the strength from all over their bodies into one arm each. The goat's fiery, glowing eyes queried lost on the Kraus's face. He could perfectly see a vision of when he would step forward, and when he would punch through Kraus and blow him away. And when he would win perfectly. The long, painful days up to that point drifted through the goat's mind. Those painful days of training when his senpais had picked on him. His faint glimpses of the warm concern his senpais felt for him. And the joy that day his power had been acknowledged when he had been accepted as one of the comrades. I never showed proper respect to my parents. That's right, didn't I plan to wash my hands of this business when this job was over and return to my hometown? I'm sorry, little goat sister. Your Oni-chan always caused me so much trouble. I actually have a childhood friend, and I'm gonna marry her when I get home.
ダメー。負けフラグ立てすぎちゃダメー。そのパンチはダメよ。避けてー。
It happened an instant before the two crashed and their punches crossed.
愚かね、ワルギリア。冷静な判断を欠いたようよ。
そのパンチを受けてはなりません。弾きなさい。
Very instant, the ghost left straight, Kraus's right straight crossed. The goat obeyed Virgilia's order with super fast reflexes and pulled it straight back, repelling Kraus's punch. That's right, Virgilia's decision probably had been wise. After all, the number of loser flags amplifies the power level of one's opponent.
危ないところでした。こんな負けフラグ立てまくりの状態で食らっていたら、どれほどの威力に倍率がかかっていたことか。さあ、そこでガラ空きの右側面に右ストレートを叩き込んでやりなさい。何？左腕一本で戦う約束？約束は破るためにあるのでしょうが。
いやー、また勝った。
失望よ、ワルギリア。あなたはやはり冷静を欠いていたわ。
なんですって。直前に気づいて避けさせた私のどこが冷静でないと。
どうしてですか、キリエ様。あのまま激突していたら旦那様の勝ちだったのでは。
そうか。負けフラグの数が20でもまだ足りないんだ。
Kraus's and the goat's double rush made for ×4. With a miracle as an ally, the firm promise of a critical hit doubled it again for ×8. On top of that, there was an amplification of ×20, equal to the number of loser flags, making for ×160. At a glance, that was an incredible amplification, but even so, Kraus's power level was 6. Even multiplied by 160, it only made for a power level of 960, just barely below the goat's 1000.
だから冷静じゃないと言ったのよ。あなた失敗したわ。そのまま激突していればあなたの勝ちだったのよ。たとえそうだったとしても、この右ストレートでクラウスの頭を砕けば同じこと。死ね、後ろ宮クラウス。
食らいたまえ。ボクシング界最強の一撃を。
After repelling Kraus's right straight, The goat's right straight attacked the right side of Krause's face, which had been left open. The bear crosses Krause's left straight. Fight! The two punches crossed, and time stopped as each aimed for the face of the other.
まさかこのタイミングで相打ちに持ってくるとは。しかし戦闘力は160倍止まりで960。うちの子の誠意には及びませんでしたよ。
いや、ワルギリアさん、あんたの負けだ。
どうして？
あんた最初のクロスカウンターを弾かせちまった。確かにその次に繰り出した右ストレートが当たればクラウスさんは粉々にされていただろう。しかしそいつをクロスされてしまった。こりゃダメだ。悪いがあんたんとこのヤギさんの乾杯だよ。
Cross counter has 4 times the destructive power of a normal punch. This is common knowledge in the boxing world. And if it's blocked in the right straight, it's then to double cross counter with 8 times the destructive power. This is also common knowledge with the boxing world. That is crossed. Then, by the principle of leverage, the triple cross would multiply the destructive power by 12. This is also a painfully common knowledge in the boxing world. It's even written in the Minmai Shobu book.
クラウスさんの戦闘力は6。
双方2倍の踏み込みで4倍。
クリティカルヒットで8倍。
負けフラグの立てすぎで160倍。
そしてトリプルクロスカウンターでさらに12倍。
1920倍。
His power level is 11,520. Krause's punch now had the power to easily win the first 10 Kaichi Budokai.
これは勝利を最後まで諦めなかったクラウスさんの執念とあんたの慢心が招いた結果だ。どちらが欠けてもこの威力にはならなかった。あんたよく戦ったよ。もう倒れてもいいんだぞ。
Hanzo clapped the goat on his shoulder. Oni-chan gave it his all. As the sparkling drops from the goat's eyes scattered, bent backwards, and fell on Virgilio.
重い。どきなさい。
The goat's massive body was too heavy for the slender Virgilia. She wriggled around with it on top of her, but it didn't look like she'd be able to escape. In that instant, the barrier Virgilia had sealed broke.
悪く思うな。テコの原理を侮ったのが君の敗因だ。
どうしてあのカウンターでテコの原理が働くのかしらね。永遠の謎だわ。
今のうちに逃げましょう。ヤギさんもお大事に。
それでは失礼します、ワルギリア様。
ペコリ。
待ちなさい。これどけて。ガブガブガブガブガブガブ。
After that, there was nothing to block their way. They ran intently through the underground passage. Did Kanan just say, bow? Jessica had finally been cornered with the wall at her back. Renove advanced with his magic circle wall bit by bit and would probably crush her against the other wall eventually. Considering the distance, she threw out her fists. This would be a final strike. Jessica had dealt out many punches so far. The wall wasn't invincible. It had already started to crack, and it wouldn't be strange for it to smash at any moment. However, due to the rebounding damage, Jessica also had cuts all over her body and was all worn out.
もうおよしなさい。あなたを押しつぶすつもりはありません。あなたの処遇は親方様が決めますからね。しかし、ジェシカ様のナイスファイトは私からも特に申し上げるつもりですよ。
ふざけるんじゃねえぜ。まだだ。 まだ終わっちゃいねえぜ。
あなたは満身創痍。立っているのもやっとではありませんか。あなたは最後の一撃に全ての力を込めるつもりでいるようだ。しかしその最後の一撃はむしろあなたにとって命取りになりますよ。
The damage reflected by Renove's magic circle wall was proportional to the strength of the attack, just because all-out punch would be bounced back onto her. The more all-out she went, the more suicidal it would be for Jessica.
分かってるぜ。そんなことはよ。
警告します。もうおやめなさい。それがあなたのためです。
強がるなよ。お前の壁がもう破れかかってるんだろ。殴ってきた私には手応えで分かってるんだぜ。
That was fact. Renove's wall was already on the verge of breaking. On top of that, Jessica's fist had been imbued with an unimaginable magical attack power by now, and their destructive strength defied the imagination. In the worst case, that destructive power might even pierce the defensive wall, smash Renove as well, and create an expansion connecting this room to the next. However, that damage would rebound on Jessica as well. She wouldn't escape unharmed.
もう一度だけ言います。おやめなさい。あなたのためを思って言っています。
やかましいぜ。覚悟しやがれ。
Jessica howled, putting all the strength of her greatest and final destructive power into her fist as she roared. Three goats had been beaten down long ago. Without straining to breathe in the slightest, George cautiously closed the distance between him and Gap. He was after her. He was planning on bringing her down with a single strike. Gap was also aiming for a single strike. If she let that chance slide, she would be killed this time.
落とし穴は使わないのかい？
Even the tiny opening during the time it took to open the hole would prove fatal with George as an opponent right now. Gap cautiously calculated the distance and timing, but even as she did, George closed the gap between them.
来ないなら行くよ。
来なさいよ。今さら小細工も何もないわ。私のこの蹴りで決着をつけてやる。
For an instant, she thought George's body blurred, and then only his jacket was floating in there. The moment she thought, darkness covered Gap, George, with his heel swung up high, was attacking from the sky like a massive dragon.
かかったわね。これで私の勝ちよ。後ろ宮ジョージ。
何？
Gap opened a vast pitfall with her in the center, swallowing up George along with herself. The two were swallowed up by the pitfall and spat out from the ceiling of the armor. But that was what Gap had been after, so she alone landed lightly. However, there was another pitfall on George's landing spot.
もらったわ。後ろ宮ジョージ。面白かったわよ。死になさい。あんたみたいな上等。後ろ宮家の当主なんてもったいないわ。今この場で私が食ってあげる。
George once again fell from the ceiling of the armor. He'd probably been dropped the same distance as falling off the roof of a two-story building. In the sky, he couldn't control his posture in any way. It was impossible to resist or defend or avoid. As Gap spun like a whirlwind, she concentrated all of her energy on the sharp tip of her stiletto heel. This was the final strike to perform his requiem. The final strike of the Queen Bee that would bore into heaven, knocking down into the true abyss.
ようこそ奈落へ。ここがあんたの終着点よ。
She closed in on her prey, stuck her foot up into the sky. At that time, she saw George's face. Even though he was in midair, he was calmly adjusting his glasses with the middle finger of his right hand. And his posture was still preserved as that of an axe kick. Without the faintest deviation, he aimed for Gap's forehead.
君がその手に出ることは想定済みだったよ。 僕が地上の君に飛びかかとを食らわせるために飛んでいたなら、僕の姿勢はとっくに崩れていただろうさ。しかし僕の姿勢はいささかも崩れない。なぜかわかるかい？僕は初めから2フロア下の君にかかとを食らわせるつもりで飛んでいる。君の負けだ、お嬢さん。
ピンポーン。
Final, strongest punch that Jessica had raised reached the wall and was sucked in. It was sucked into a black, large hole that had suddenly opened on the wall.
だからおやめなさいと忠告したのに。
実は全然ピンチでもなんでもなかったの。ごめんなさいね。
Jessica's fist had gone for George's stomach, and George's axe kick had lined up on Jessica's head. Shocking destructive power imbued in Jessica's fist crushed George's organs and scattered his abdomen. Same destructive power in George's axe kick smashed half of Jessica's head, and scattered its contents in the same manner.
だって魔女は演技力なんでしょう。ねえねえリーチェ、どうよ、見ててくれたかしら。やるな、筋書き通り。やっぱガープは分かってるじゃん。イエーイ。
Ito and Gab casually high-fived each other.
ありがとうロノウェイ。こっちで美味しくいただけた。ジェシカの死体はそっちに返すわ。二人で寄り添う死体を引き離す。これで第二の晩は出来上がり。
Gap dropped Jessica's corpse through a pitfall, and all the trunks were thrown into Jessica's room. Scarcely as knowing someone went down into the trash. Jessica's corpse and lumps of flesh fell from the ceiling and poured out all over the room. Ronove shook his head slightly at his nurse and whispered into his ear.
申し訳ございません、ジェシカさん。ご忠告は申し上げたのですよ。もっともこの結末を予見し聞き入れないと分かっている忠告を重ねる悪魔の醍醐味は人間には分からないでしょうがね。
本当に面白かったわ坊や。でもあんたちょっと言葉遊びが過ぎるわよ。そろそろ反撃してもいいかなが最高傑作。あなたどこかのラノベか何かにかぶれすぎよ。
In an arbor brutally decorated by George's and Jessica's scattered blood and guts, Gap enjoyed a loud laugh for a while, but she quickly realized that, in all seriousness, this was a little too filthy and undignified, and she snapped her fingers. As she did, a cloud of gold butterflies rose up around her, stuck to each of the bits and bloodstains, and dropped them. Then George's corpse returned bit by bit. The brutal corpse with its guts torn out was repaired into a clean corpse that looked like it was sleeping. It was this some act of sportsmanship towards a dead rival? The heavens were split. Because Gap had lifted her leg high, pointed at the sky.
じゃあね色男、これが本当のゲームオーバー。
Without a trace of mercy, that foot stepped down and was buried into George's forehead. Stiletto heel that was sharp as a weapon pierced George's face. With a blueprint was pulled out. It was like a mark proving that George certainly had finished him by her own hand. Finished George by her own hand. Did I read that right? Did I read that right? Gap certainly had finished him by her own. Renove also returned Jessica's corpse to its original. And unlike how it had been with George, he restored Jessica's life.
これは一体夢？
いいえ、違います。ジェシカ様は確かにお亡くなりになりました。最後の瞬間の記憶をよくご存知のはずだ。
Jessica's mind was burning. For some reason, she remembered being thrown somewhere and having George's heel smash her head.
私は生きてるのか？
いいえ、死んでいます。私の魔法でほんの3分ほどそれを先送りにしているに過ぎません。3分が過ぎれば魔法が終わり、あなたは無残な頭部半壊の死体に戻ります。
だと
死は残酷です。多くの場合、心の整理さえ与えない。しかし私はここまで検討したあなたを称え、その時間を与えることにしました。その3分間でこの世の未練をよく整理されるといいでしょう。
その3分でお前を道連れにするという手もあるぜ。
But the power that had burned through Jessica's body until a second ago had been completely lost. Jessica was aware of that herself. She was already dead.
それでは私はこれにて失礼いたします。楽しかったですよ、ジェシカ様。
Ravi turned his form into a cloud of gold butterflies and disappeared. All that remained was the sound of the wind and rain, and the figure of Jessica as she crouched down, leaning against the wall. Jessica could tell. Probably Rolly would revert to the corpse she had been after 3 minutes. Was there anything she could do in those 3 minutes? Stood up, and with a shaky gait, took the phone that was on the desk.
もしもし、ジェシカか？ジェシカ、どうした？無事か？
やられしまったぜ。
大丈夫か？怪我をしてるのか？今助けに行く。
いや、もう遅いぜ。私さ、もう死んでるんだと。バトラーが来た時には私は頭を半分ぶちまけた死体だよ。
クソじじいめ、待てろ、今そこに行くからな。
聞けよバトラー。いいか、よく聞け。幸田さんたちがどうして食堂で6人が殺された時のこと、歯切れが悪いのかよく分かった。 あいつらな、人間じゃねえんだぜ。
何を言ってんだ。
言っちまったんだ。仕方ねえだろ。あいつらさ、ワープしたりバリア張ったりやりたい放題だぜ。どこの漫画だよ、アニメだよ。いや、マジでかなわねえぜ。最初からさ、戦うとか無理なんだよ。バトラが自慢してた棒仕掛けの槍程度でとてもどうにかなる相手じゃねえぜ。
A line of blood dripped down from Jessica's forehead.
ジョージ兄さんもダメだった。ありゃ即死だ。次のテストはバトラだな。お前のテストも私たちと同じになるのかな。用心しろよ。そして間違えるな。
テストか。
違う。敵はどうせ人間だと間違えるなよ。敵は人間じゃない。恐ろしい魔法を自在に扱える悪魔なんだ。そこを絶対に間違えるんじゃねえぜ。用心しろよ。
A line of blood dripped down from Jessica's mouth as well. The left half of her head started hurting. Jessica realized that she was about to return to the corpse she had been.
13人死ねば黄金の魔女が蘇る。母さんたちが殺されて6人。これで第1の番。そして私とジョージ兄さんが死んで第2の番。あと5人殺されれば儀式は完成で魔女が蘇るってわけだ。父さんたち無事だといいな。もし無事じゃなかったらお前をテストするのは復活したてのベアドリーチェ自身ってことになるかもしれねえぜ。
Edward already didn't understand what Jessica was saying, but from her tone, he realized that she knew she was about to die. But even though he didn't understand the situation, he urged her to give it her all.
私はもう死んでるんだって。じゃあな、もう時間みたいだ。テスト頑張れよ。お前が当主になれるといいな。
ジェシカ、ジェシカ、おい、返事をしろ。ジェシカ
Edward's sorrowful voice could be heard from the dangling receiver. As she leaned against the wall in that corner, crouched down, Jessica's head had been half smashed.
ここは
これは井戸なのか。ここはどこなんだ。
Harry stuck her face out of the well, and then Kraft showed himself. When he realized that they could see the back of the mansion from beyond a grove of trees, Kraft knew more or less where they were. think that here, in a certain well, there had been a hidden underground passage, which led to a hidden mansion.
老体にはやはりこれは辛いですな。普段は別の場所からちゃんと階段で上がれるのです。鍵さえ開けば。
南條先生には後でいろいろとここの構造についてお教え願いたいものだ。シャノン、大丈夫かね。捕まりたまえ。
大丈夫です。カノン君、早く。
Canon climbed up a ladder out of the shaft that was disguised as a well. It was probably quite deep. When he looked down for the first time, he realized how far he'd come up.
にひ、射撃。
As Canon was about to finally crawl out of the well, a hole the size of a basketball opened up in his chest. Everyone there looked through the hole in Canon's chest to the scenery beyond. Canon slumped backwards and was swallowed up into the depths of the well.
みんな逃げて。シスト姉妹、捕捉されてます。回避できない。走って。一人でも生き残って。
At that time, Kraus, Kiri, and Nacho certainly saw a golden curved line appear from the well, pursue itself through the side of Shannon's head.
シャノン。
Her head had been pierced. Kiri had witnessed it perfectly still and had shot out the opposite side, pulling it away. Shannon fell to her knees, blood gushing from both sides of her head, and flopped to the ground.
私たちは狙われてる。走って。殺されるわよ。
走れ、走れ、走れ、走れ。
As Nanjo doubled over in shock, stunned by how Shannon had died, the Chester sisters did not allow him to escape. Curved line again appeared from the well and pierced Nanjo's forehead to the back of his head in an instant, chewing through him. So, Nanjo passed away.
何なんだ。どうしてなんだ。敵はどこから。
狙撃されてるのよ。どこか知らないけど私たちを完全に捉えてる。屋敷へ逃げ込むのよ。視界を遮るのよ。
The two dashed towards the back door of the mansion. Then, right as Kraus was about to shut the door behind him, the golden curved line appeared for the fourth time, piercing Kraus from the back of his head to his forehead and smashing that forehead. Kraus's body leaned over, fell down, and drew a neat radial pattern with it inside of his head. Kiri ran wildly through the door of the hallway, flew into some room, and locked the door. But even so, she wasn't even remotely convinced that this had saved her life. She would probably die soon. This was apparently one of the guest rooms. At that moment, Kiri's eyes fell on a phone on the side table. After hanging up the call from Jessica, Bador had been about to dash out. In that instant, the phone rang again.
もしもし。キリエさん。
はい、バトラ君。ラッキーだったわ。なんとか力を脱出できたの。本当についてた。
そこはどこだ。みんな無事なのかよ。こっちはジェシカとジョージの兄貴がどうやら。
聞いて。私の命は多分もう長くは持たないわ。
At that time, right after she thought the keyhole of the locked door might have glowed gold curved line drawing a helix. No, the golden ceiling thread penetrated in from near an incredible speed and bored a hole into the floor by Kiri's feet. Well, that's unusual. The enemy, who sniped the other four one after another with extraordinary skill, apparently really does have trouble shooting me between the eyes with a single shot while I'm holed up in this room. But the next strike will probably hit. At this point, Kiri finally remembered the first massive killing in the dining hall. That's right. This is what killed Rudolph and the rest, all 6 of them.
聞いて、バトラ君。私が見たことをありのまま話す。 バトラ君はきっと私の頭がどうにかなってしまったんだろうと思うに違いない。ええ、思ってくれていいわ。私だって何を見たのか未だに整理がつかない。今日バトラ君たちがゲストハウスに帰ってから食堂で親族会議が始まって、そして何が起こったかを全て話すわ。口を挟まないで最後まで聞いて。途中で急に電話が切れるかもしれない。そしたらその時は私が殺された時よ。
キリエさ。
Then Kiri spoke about Kinzo appearing and the family conference starting, about the 6 being killed and the 5 of them being confined, about how she had escaped somehow and ran away to where she was now. Now everyone had finally been killed. It was all spoken dispassionately, with no dramatization, just as she'd seen it. She even spoke about how everyone except her had been killed, and how she had observed the moments of all their deaths, and how even now someone was trying to kill her.
実はこの話をしている間にももう3度攻撃を受けている。鍵穴からおかしな黄金の糸みたいなのが飛び込んできて、くるくる回りながら私を狙ってくるの。最初は足元、次は肩の近く、さっきのは耳をかすったわ。狙いがだんだん正確になってくる。そろそろ私の眉間にズドンと来そうね。
逃げろキリエさん、逃げてくれ。
どこへよ。私ここまで逃げ延びてきて部屋に閉じこもって鍵までかけてるのよ。それでもなお狙われてる私がどこに隠れるのよねえ。
さ
ねえバトラ君、ジェシカちゃんとジョージ君まだ生きてる？
さっきジェシカから電話が。なんかダメみたいだった。
やっぱり私たち5人が次々殺される時、何か予感していたの。ひょっとして13人殺しの儀式は第2の番を終えて私たちの番にまで至ったのかなって。つまり私が死ねば13人、これで儀式は完成。黄金の魔女ベアトリーチェが復活する。一体どういうことになるのかしら。こんな悪魔だらけの魔女だらけ、ヤギの化け物がうじゃうじゃいるこの島に、さらにそいつらの親玉である黄金の魔女まで現れて、一体どうなっちゃうというのかしら。もう私には何が何だかわからない。
Kiri-san's voice had completely given up on her own love. Because Battler understood that, couldn't stop the tears.
一つだけ助言できることがあったわ。
何？
もしあなたの前に悪魔やら魔女が現れても、
ああ、
その正体を疑う必要は何もないわ。そういうものだと理解して。何か仕掛けがあるはずだとか正体があるはずだとか、そんなことを考える余裕があったら、相手の機嫌を損ねないことを考えた方がよっぽどに建設的。間違ってもなら魔法を見せてみろなんて言っちゃダメよ。その証拠を彼らはこの上なく残酷な方法で見せるでしょうから。
信じらんねえよ。キネさんの口からそんなこと言われるなんて信じらんねえよ。
分かってる、信じられないのは。だからそれこそが私にできる助言。信じて。
ベアとリーチェと悪魔と魔女と化け物どもを信じろと。
あれほどまでにこの世ならざるものをありありと見せつけられても、多 分何も信じることができなかったと思うの。今の私もそう。さっきから襲ってきて私の額を撃ち抜こうとする者の正体さえ私には理解できず、信じられない。だからあなただけは信じ理解して、私たちに受け止めきれなかった存在を受け止めてほしいの。そうしてくれたなら私たちの死は無駄にならない。私もこうして電話をした甲斐があったというものだわ。
キリさん、
まだ大丈夫よ。かすったけどまた外したわ。さすがに今度はもうダメかもね。ありがとう。そしてさよならバトラ君。あなたのことアスムさんの息子だからと冷たくしたこともあったの。その日のことを許して。
許すも何も、今はキリエさんが俺にとっての母親だろうが。
I felt as though I'd heard an incredible sound at the other end of the receiver. Then, a noisy clacking sound, as though the receiver had fallen to the floor.
キリエさん、キリエさん、
Sam did not answer through the phone again. All the deaths happened again.
どうしてバトラが怒ってるのかわかんないよ。
Bye.